Imagine being a partner to the Walt Disney Company and they are putting the squeeze on you, basically ensuring that you cannot sell merchandise related to your most popular item. Folks, we're here to tell you that's what we are hearing is going on behind the scenes at Tokyo Disneyland, where they are big fans, as were we, of Splash Mountain. They had the best version ever made, and now they're having to close the retail space. But you won't believe the reason why. Folks, here we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we, as ever, endeavor to explain entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve and explaining what's going on in the culture war that's happening all across the corporations that make things fun for the entire planet. Today we're talking about Disney as per the norm, and joining us, a theme park guru, Vash Sky. Welcome back, sir.
Happy to be back. Thank you so much for having me. This is a particularly interesting issue because there are certain things going on around the world, as you know, that might be impacting this story. So this is something that I cannot wait to get into.
The really interesting thing about it, Vash, is that nobody seems to be happy with Tiana's Bayou Adventure, whether it's on the West Coast or the East Coast. Take out the heavy dosage pixie dusters, the cupcakers, the influencers, the shills. The average person not happy because they're inoperable. They don't actually work. So much downtime for Florida. Now California, on its very first day, they had hours of broken ride. In other words, it's busted on day one. It's like a car that you purchase and you can't drive it off the lot. That's how bad the whole lot of Imagineers are. Now they're pushing Japan to drop the last Splash Mountain, and Japan is not happy about it. Folks, we are going to be in a bit of rumor and speculation territory here because we're going to be talking about things that have been alleged to us behind the scenes, but we're going to try to connect the dots in a way that makes sense to you. As we dive in, consider clicking the like button. Vash, here we go. Out of WDWNT, Shannon Ace, the author here, and Shannon, apologies, but we're going to get to the end of this article and we're going to take some exception to things that are said here. Splash Mountain store permanently closing at Tokyo Disneyland, even with new ride pin. Here's what it says. The Splash Mountain gift shop at Tokyo Disneyland is closing permanently next month, although the ride remains open and a new Splash Mountain pin is coming soon. You can see the interior of this magnificent, excuse me if I can English, magnificent retail shop. It's called the Hoot and Holler Hideout, and it's closing permanently November 30th. Splash Mountain at Tokyo Disneyland is the last version of the ride remaining after the Disneyland and Walt Disney World versions closed in 2023 to make way for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. There are rumors Disney wants to replace the Tokyo Disneyland version. Folks, I'm here to tell you, you can take it to the bank, flat out. Disney definitely wants to get rid of the Tokyo Disneyland version. It's just too bad for Disney that they don't own this theme park. The Oriental Land Company owns Tokyo Disney Resort, and this is an uber popular attraction. Now, Vash, as we get ready to take a look at this attraction over on Google Earth, and I'm going to show people why this is such a fascinating story, way beyond what you would normally consider for a closed retail space. Just tell the folks out there, how badly did it go a few days ago for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the new attraction, the reskinned Splash Mountain at Disneyland? Did they learn anything when they opened this one versus in the Florida side of things, Vash?
No. They don't have any memory whatsoever, apparently, and apparently that goes for the operations as well. Yes, the first day of annual pass holder previews started 2 days ago on Monday. And what's interesting about this is that it was only a partial day. I believe they conducted cast member previews earlier in the day. So I don't think the annual pass holder preview started until about 3. And even then, it only lasted about an hour and 42 minutes until it shut down for at least 2 hours. And then when it came back up, they were able to get some more people through. But then, well, it shut down again. So they've been having nonstop operational issues ever since, from what I understand. Yesterday didn't go much better. And even on that first day, the park is usually open until like 10, 11, 12, around this time. I don't think they allowed anybody past 9 o'clock. So 6 hours or so, and a lot of that due to not available due to downtime. It was just a horrendous showing. Also, too, even the audio-animatronics and so forth weren't working. The first Tiana that you actually encounter on that second lift hill right there didn't have her sensors activated, so she wasn't actually doing her routine in front of the logs as they passed. She just kind of smiled and waved. It has been a complete disaster.
Yes, and it's been a tomato in the face of everybody at Walt Disney Imagineering. You can imagine why Japan now would be saying, you know what? You all just stay over there in the U.S. and do your U.S. stuff. We don't need this. This is an image of Splash Mountain in Tokyo, and I just want people to understand. Look at the amount of theming and rock work and everything that went into this. It is not simply the ride as you would see it at Disneyland or Disney World. It stretches on and on. In fact, it even goes so far as to be built into the rock work of their version of the Haunted Mansion. That is how extensive this is. And so, Vash, when we read that they are closing this retail space on WDWNT, just know that it's not as simple as it's a little structure separate from Splash Mountain that they're closing forever. It's literally an intrinsically and intricately interlinked part of the structure that they're closing forever. So let's talk about what that means and why it's happening. First of all, they are releasing a new Splash Mountain pin, but you're going to notice something, Vash. There are none of the bre'r characters who star in the attraction, and that is a key point into what we're hearing. We'll come back to that in just a moment. It's Mickey, it's Pluto, not Bre'r Rabbit, Bre'r Fox, Bre'r Bear. We'll come back to that. It says this announcement comes right as Tokyo Disney Resort revealed a new Splash Mountain pin, which will be released at Tokyo Disney Resort on October 24th. Part of a series of attraction-inspired pins, it features Mickey Mouse and Pluto riding the log flume. And you can see that it's not just the Fab Five, as they call Donald and Mickey and Goofy and all of those. You've got Woody and Buzz, you've got the Genie. So they're using all kinds of Disney characters, not the bre'r characters, though. Here's what it says. Disney has erased nearly all references to Song of the South from their domestic parks. And folks, this is true. And it's to such a degree that if we find out now that there's any reference remaining, we don't talk about it, lest they find out and they go and erase it. The controversial film that inspired Splash Mountain was based on the Uncle Remus stories, which originated as African-American folktales. That's not true. Remember, we said we're going to take exception? These are actual myths from Africa. They're not African-American folktales. They are the fairy tales of Africa. They are the myths, the legitimate, authentic myths of African peoples. They were collected and published by a white dude, Joel Chandler Harris. Song of the South faced criticism at the time of its 1946 release for racism and extended to star James Baskett being unable to attend the Atlanta premiere due to segregation. Again, I take exception with this because it's exceptionally poorly written. James Baskett was prevented from being at the Atlanta premiere, and Walt Disney himself refused to sit and watch the movie at the premiere out of protest. And how do we know that? Well, because the daughter of Bre'r Bear, Valerie, she came by here. Valerie Stewart came by prior to her passing, did an interview with us and told us about that. So Walt Disney himself was fighting against racism. It was the people criticizing the movie who were engaged in racism with segregation and all that sort of thing. Anyway, Vash, here's what I'm telling you to go back up to the pen. What I'm hearing is the reason they're closing that retail space permanently, and this is hard to believe, but not once you remember it's Disney. What I'm hearing, Vash, is that Tokyo Disney OLC, Oriental Land Company, is having a very difficult time, and I'm caging my words a bit here. They're having a very difficult time getting any permission to use any of the Splash Mountain characters anymore for anything. And they can't use the audio, allegedly, in any of the rest of the park. So they can't play zip-a-dee-doo-dah. They can't play Laughing Place, etc. They can't use the characters. They're not going to be allowed to sell the plushies anymore. Disney's putting the squeeze on them, Vash, all the way to the point of trying to say, you're going to have to shut down this retail space because we're not giving you any merch. However, there is nothing, no way, nada that Disney can do to shut down the ride itself. And Tokyo seems intent on keeping the ride itself because it is utterly popular. People love it. By the way, take a look at how glorious it is over here on X. I mean, just wouldn't it be fantastic to have that again? It is the best version of the Splash Mountain attraction in the world. And I hope, Vash, I would love it if Tokyo really stuck it to the mouse and said, you know what? We're going to offer this now on certain days at certain hours, the English version. I don't think they can do it because contractually Disney will never allow it. But wouldn't it be amazing if they could offer the English version? Because you would have international travelers coming to what was the most popular attraction in the world and still is. So, Vash, that is why I'm hearing that they're permanently closing this retail space that you cannot simply replace because it's literally part of the theming. And that's why, by the way, there will not be a Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Japan. If Disney forces them to close this, if they squeeze them out of having these characters, it'll be something entirely different because they don't want Tiana. They don't want the busted Bayou Adventure. They're just stuck with a suck that is Disney that wants to suck all the fun out of everyone. What say you, Vash?
I guarantee you there's not going to be a Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And I believe the article even references the fact that, even if Tokyo were to, have their hands forced or tied behind their back and, walk the plank, so to speak, in replacing Splash Mountain, they wouldn't opt for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I mean, from what I understand, I'm hearing that the Oriental Land Company has not necessarily been impressed with Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
I'm shocked.
Well, if they had, they would have opted for it. That's just not what they wanted. That's been the case for quite some time. If you want to go ahead and share my screen, it talks about how this is an article from Caroline Reed from Forbes, the Disney resort operator that's worth less now than it was 2 years ago. This is actually talking about the Oriental Land Company's Tokyo Disney Resort and how they're actually having a little bit of what do you want to say? It's been hard financial times there for the Oriental Land Company.
We need to clarify, too, for the audience out there, that there has been a Japanese economy, I don't want to call it a collapse, but Japan's having a very difficult time economically, and that's playing a part in this as well. We don't want to blame everything on the OLC, although they have made some poor decisions. They're also the victims of an economic status in Japan that is dropping.
Oh, no, to me, I'm not blaming the OLC at all. I think they've been they've had a hard go of it because of circumstance. But honestly, I think they've reacted to it, their economic situations and macroeconomic issues as well as they possibly could. It's just they're kind of in a top spot right now. So I think they're very disinclined to do anything regarding Splash Mountain and upend the apple cart, so to speak.
They're not courting controversy.
Right. This is extremely popular attraction. It's one of the biggest and best in the world, as Tokyo tends to do whenever they get a duplicate over from the American theme parks. People are going to be coming potentially from all over the world in order to see Splash Mountain. Why, in fact, would they ever do anything to upset that at all? So
now, wait a minute,
I think they're holding out.
Hold on a second.
Please.
The Oriental Land Company has been going along with Disney as of late with some of their expansions, right? With the Disney Spring stuff, adding that to Disney Sea, and Disney Sea is considered the greatest theme park on the planet by most people. So, Vash, if Disney has been leading them into a place that's actually diminishing their overall value, which I would argue that's what they've done at Disney World too, but you just don't hear about it. But Vash, do you think at this point OLC might be saying, you know what? We're not interested in being lambs to the slaughter for your virtue signal efforts.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the main point here is there's no reason for Oriental Land Company to embark in replacing Splash Mountain at all. The same issues that might affect North America do not affect the East.
Unless Vash, you're beholden to a company that's determined to take your ability to use every character in every song and take away your ability to merchandise it. If you can't make any money off the attraction, then it has to stand as so significant and so fun that it drives ticket sales all on its own. And I think it does, actually.
And that's the critical part right there, because like you said before, the Oriental Land Company has had their abilities to even use the bre'r characters in the parades, for example, stripped away from them with Disney's deal right here. And you are right.
And yet, Vash, we're told that they're not putting pressure. Places like WDWNT tell us, they swear to us, no pressure. No. Disney doesn't care. They're leaving them alone. This is all Japan. Bullhunkus.
Yeah, that's not at all the case. They're absolutely putting pressure on them. We even outside of our reporting, Pro, I'm hearing multiple rumors from multiple different sources that yes, pressure is definitely being applied to the Oriental Land Company executives. And here's the thing: OLC has entered into new relationships with Disney, specifically with the cruise line business and so forth. So it's for Oriental Land Company, it's a little, I know, obviously it's touch and go, but it is kind of for Disney because obviously they want to maintain that relationship and keep it intact there. So it's this one's really going to be interesting to watch. And I do think you're right, bro. I think Splash Mountain is popular enough that it is generating an increase in visitation and ticket sales just all on its own. But for how long is going to be the question. And at what lengths might Disney go to force Oriental Land Company's hand? That is going to be an interesting thing to watch.
Well, they hate fun. By the way, for everybody who is out there in Japan and you're inclined to listen and disagree with Disney, this is the one to disagree with because they are actually economically, in my opinion, and I'm allowed to have one, economically negatively impacting this park, trying to force and squeeze the OLC into not maximizing their most popular attraction. I think it's gross. I think it's disgusting. I think Bob Iger and his fellow ideologues at Disney, they need to listen to the fans. Stop the madness. It's a rabbit. It's a bear. It's a fox. Leave them alone. There you go.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up, bro. Do you think that with a change of leadership at the top of Disney, this pressure might subside?
Yes, but not so long as that next leader is selected, handpicked by Bob Iger. But I will say, Vash, that the fact that they're now bringing in the former head of it's Morgan Stanley, the former head of Morgan Stanley. Yeah, he's the head. He's their current head of the board over there. He's going to become the head of the board of directors at Disney, and he's in charge of picking the next CEO. And that's been delayed until 2026. Seems to me all of that, Vash, points to me to the institutions, although left leaning, may now be saying, Bob, you're not making the pick again. And I love it because this stuff like decimating your partner in Japan over this sort of thing, it's trite. It's just trite. And it's all right if we stop that.
So maybe they only have to hold out for as long as there's a change in leadership at the Walt Disney Company. And that's a possibility. And maybe Oriental Land Company executives are kind of strategizing that out. It's like, look, why make decisions now when the whole deal could change in just 2 years?
There you go, Japan. You heard it from Vash. He's saying there might be a chance. So hang on to the hope that Mary Swanson's on the way and Bob Iger is going away. Folks, you can help us on our way all across YouTube by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as always, it is a joy to be joined with you. An attitude of gratitude here on the channel every single time we have the opportunity to hang out. All right, until the next time, folks, we bid you adieu with this one. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun. I got you, Vash.
I'm the ghost of Star Wars.
You know what would be a real treat this Halloween? Checking out WDW Pro. He's got all the sweet news on his Thursday live show at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Not to mention, his daily videos are a real treat.
Guys, I'm the ghost of Star Wars. Get it?
You know, we should go and make sure we're subscribed.
Guys, I'm the ghost of Star Wars.
And while we're at it, we'll ring that bell to make sure we're notified.
Great, let's go. Because, we actually care about that. Let's go.
Fact. Star Wars is not dead. It's haunting the staffs of Disney Plus.